Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. How's it going? How are you today? I hope you're wonderful. And by wonderful, I hope your day is terrible, actually. That would make me feel better about myself, which we all know is the most important thing, is how I feel about me rather than how you feel about you and your day. But that being said, here we are. And we have a show. Did I misspell it in this stupid thing? Yeah, I did. I guess I'll correct it now. Thank you. Thank you for fixing that for me. It's still a name that I don't want to spell. So there's a lawsuit. That's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about this lawsuit against Chris Avellone. He is a game developer, game designer of many games that you have probably heard of or played. Let's see if we can name just a few from his little bio here. Chris Avellone. He is the developer/writer on Planescape Torment, Fallout 2 and Fallout New Vegas, Divinity Original Sin 2, Prey, Into the Breach, Dying Light 2, Bloodlines 2, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, and Jedi Fallen Order. That's a whole lot of big titles to have under your belt for game development. This guy is no slouch. Slouch? No slouch? No slouch. He is a serious game developer of serious games. This is not a Japanese closeted furry emulator, maybe diaper user, who is threatening to Minecraft themselves. This is a guy who has credentials in the industry, and his reputation has been besmirched. Besmirched. Of course it has, right? Of course it has. It has been tarnished. It has been sullied. All of those fun synonyms. Pick one. Pick your poison. It doesn't matter. It is now it is time to ruin this man. He has finally gotten enough achievement in his life that he needs to be destroyed. And I think it's about time. I'm tired of this guy. And you know what? 10 years ago, he looked at me crosswise, and now he must be destroyed. Actually, I know nothing. I know nothing about this case. I know nothing about this guy other than Law Twitter is firmly opposed to him. So I'm pretty damn sure he has actually been horrifically wronged. I'm pretty sure of that, because if Law Twitter stands against you, you might even be a saint. That's just how my barometer goes these days. And we're gonna talk about some Law Twitter stuff. Of course, there's a little bit to talk about so far. In this case, they're already chirping and yapping, and we'll have to talk about a little bit of it, I guess. Oh my goodness. So we will get to that in a minute. Other than that, I don't have anything else planned for today, although I do have several, there's a bunch of stuff I have just kind of in the hopper, depending on how long this goes. We are going to take a look at the lawsuit. The overall filing is 94 pages long, but most of that is actually exhibits. The filing itself is quite short. So that's an interesting sort of aspect of this. Then, of course, there are articles, which we might need to check into. And he has written a giant screed. So I think we'll probably start with his giant spiel that he has written. Yeah, I think that's the way to do this. Let me find it. Where are we? Okay. He's got a Medium post. It's actually got a giant Twitter thread that we can look at too. So we're going to take a look at all this stuff. This is going to be a long haul, thorough dive into this lawsuit. And something looks off. Is the light on? Yes, although my lights are partially obscured due to some movement of some monitors. My camera is also at a different angle for the same reason. I'm still working on finding the ultimate resting ground for all of this stuff. And of course, that'll probably immediately change the second my new desk comes in. So that's that. But I think we'll start with his words. We'll get an idea of what he is up against. You know what he's up against, though, right? Like, you know ultimately what he's up against. He's up against a narcissist who's probably fat. And yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what these people look like. I'm guessing we could find out. But that's gonna be the thing, and that's how it's gonna go. It's a mess. Did I get copyright claim for the video last night? I did, but I have removed the song from the archive, and so it's all up now. What's wrong with fat? Nothing's wrong with fat unless it bothers you. Like, it bothers me that I'm fat. That bothers me. I want to be less fat. So yeah, but if it doesn't bother you, then you're already leagues ahead of everybody else. Eat all the cookies you want. Okay, so without further ado, there's a couple chats I want to get to real quick, and then we will get right into this. My videos today must have made some people annoyed, I guess, because I lost like 40 subscribers. And I don't know. I don't know if it was just the title of my Trump video, which was supposed to be tongue-in-cheek, is all the crimes Trump is being charged with. The answer, of course, to that was 0. That was the joke. But I think a bunch of people saw that and they're like, this guy's anti-Trump. Click, 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 click. It's like, okay, I guess. But anyway, all right. First super chat is from Matt K. The new camera angle is weird. Yes. Yes, it is. And I'm working on it. So trying to figure everything out with all these mechanical bits everywhere. It becomes a little bit more challenging. But I also have to just kind of get used to it and look at the camera from time to time. Next, we've got Andrew War. Snowboard says, even though I don't watch anymore, at least Major League Baseball is still, for the moment, heterosexual. Also, the Caribou Coffee donut was wrapped in paper and 75% of the frosting was removed. F's in the chat, please. Terrible. Terrible. Not applicable says this idiot actually has a decent library. Oh, Chris Avellone? Are you talking about? He's good. Good on his library of games that we're talking about. Mithrin Emrys says the fact that Law Twitter is okay with the idea that someone is not deserving of representation and promotes conformity of thought clearly demonstrates that they do not deserve their law degrees, let alone their bar cards. Correct. Correct. That is the thing. The angle has to be right to prevent glare from Nick's nose. It actually, you guys don't know this. I'm actually a fat woman on Instagram, and this is just with the angle, I look like a thinner man. That's how it works. So that's actually the secret. That's what I've been hiding from you all these years. I've now come clean. I apologize. But that's, you know, the truth had to out. The truth had to out. It will always out. Okay. Oh, I need one more thing. I need to be able to see this article a little bit better for my own sake. Having this giant monitor is helpful. I need to learn how to use it even better. Okay. Transition. Oh, perfect. Perfect. All right, so here is Ending Silence by Chris Avellone. He's got a Medium post. We'll be taking a look at this in a second. Is my feederism goal 1,000 pounds? Yes. Yes. What are we drinking tonight? Well, right now I have orange Gatorade, but I also have this. I'm going to go with this Smooth Ambler Contradiction Bourbon in a little bit. It's got an elephant. One of my kids really likes elephants. That's honestly the amount of thought that I put into buying this bottle. One of my kids likes elephants. I should get an elephant-themed bottle. Okay, so this is Chris Avellone, Ending Silence. We'll read the Medium article in a minute. Oh, this is my compiled statement I made on Twitter. If you've already read that, you can jump to the full story by clicking on this link. If not, read on. The same link can be found at the bottom of the page. This man is already... Look at this. That's video game planning right there. You can tell that this guy makes games with meaningful choice in them. It's pretty obvious. You have the meaningful choice of clicking to skip the tutorial right now, or you can endure the tutorial, which you know is going to be painful, right? You know this part's going to suck. You're going to hate, this is going to be the worst part of the whole game, is this stupid tutorial that we've got to slog through. You can't really, I mean, you can pass it, but you might miss something important. And if you don't slog through it, that's going to be a disaster ultimately. But if you do go ahead and slog through, you're rewarded, and you can then move on with the story at the end. Okay, so here we go. Last year, a woman named Karissa made accusations against me, and so did her close friend, Kelly. The accusations were surprising. They concerned our first meeting almost 9 years ago, and they were untrue. Now, look at that. Would you look at that? Are you noticing the similarities already, right? 9 years ago. An obscure event. Claims it's untrue from the start. Might be. Don't know. We'll see. But you notice the theme. There's basically a book on this, on how to destroy people. And it starts with this thing. A vague accusation or allegation from so long ago that there's no one who can properly verify with any level of veracity what has happened. It's the new Vogue. I have a feeling we're going to need some of this bourbon as we get through this. I spent the last year trying to persuade myself these acts were done out of a misguided sense of self-righteousness. I've tried to correct the record, allow voices to be heard, but in keeping silent, I was wrong. Thank you. Stop, guys. You gotta stop. You gotta stop this. Well, I'll let their voice be heard. I'll be silent. No, no more. Stop rolling over. The motivation for these attacks seemed simple. Karissa and Kelly were angry about a bad breakup I had with their friend Jackie nearly 7 years ago. Jackie was a woman Karissa had encouraged me to hit on at a bar at the same convention a year after Karissa and I had first met. It is an unusual thing for someone to do to a friend with someone they believe to be a sexual predator. So now we've got the initial thing. This is their magic word, sexual predator. It is completely meaningless. They know it's completely meaningless. That's why they use it, because it's ultimately extremely damaging without having a definite characteristic. Jackie and I saw each other for a year. We were not dating. We were not boyfriend and girlfriend. He thought, right? He thought. Maybe you should have consulted the E thought about what he thought. We stopped seeing each other 7 years ago. I had to break it off. In no small part to Karissa continually, angrily inserting herself into our relationship, which Jackie encouraged. I do not know why Karissa waited so long with these accusations. Oh, Chris, you summer child. Chris, if you happen to watch this or see this clip, talk to me. I'll tell you exactly why. I can tell you everything about the way these ladies are operating. I can tell you everything about what's going on. Trust me, I am now an expert in this very thing. She seemed to be triggered by the posting of an IGN video interview involving me. To be clear, I did not want to do this video interview. I was told by the PR Evolve liaison at the time IGN insisted. IGN's handling of the interview, cutting out my female lead at the time, seemed to confirm it. This was their decision. I had no involvement in it, and their handling of it disgusted me. But it was not the content Karissa seemed angered by. It was my presence. Whether it was that I still had a job in the industry or believed I did not deserve the attention, I do not know. I certainly didn't want the attention. Shortly after Karissa made her accusations, her close friend Kelly then supported her with brand new claims purposely worded to be hard but not impossible to disprove. At the time, as I said at the time, I believe the breakup with their friend Jackie motivated their attacks. Karissa and Kelly even said as much. For those of you that ask questions about these accusations, thank you. For those who offered support, thank you. For those of you willing to listen before rushing to judgment, thank you. This poor dude, he had no idea what was coming his way. No idea. Completely blindsided. A long list of digital evidence and witness testimony has been compiled over the past year. With that in hand, I filed a formal response last week, not to silence Karissa and Kelly, but to encourage them to speak more. Other women came forward, but addressing them is easier done by first challenging Karissa's statements. This is because Karissa's claims were unfortunately echoed by others as truth, which allowed these falsehoods to spread and seem to be true via repetition. Whether this was done out of malice or ignorance doesn't matter. Malice. Malice. Chris. I get what you're doing here. Stop mitigating these for these women. Stop doing it. They're not doing this absent-mindedly. They're not doing this innocently. They're not doing this like, oh, we're just straying into the field of these accusations to tell our truth. It's malice. There you go. I've solved your dilemma. They are untrue. it's malice. When Karissa's claims are addressed in court, they will put these other claims in a much different light. Other parts of these stories that weren't parroted by others are easy to prove false with a little research, if even a little research had been done. No, Chris. Oh my gosh. He's like a new AI, right? Like it's just trying to learn how to be human. And it's like, why did this sentient being lie to me? That doesn't seem right. He has no idea. None of the press did any such research I'm aware of. But no, they're just, Chris, they have bylines to write. That's all. They just want to get their name on an article that gets clicks. They don't care what it says. Even for the easiest confirmations. For example, a woman, Christy Dina, claimed we shared a night together in 2013 when I wasn't even on the same continent. For now, my focus is Karissa and her statements. Making a case on Twitter is pointless. Karissa has told me she owes me nothing concerning her accusations. Like her accusations, this is also not true. When you accuse someone of a crime, when you present falsehoods as facts to harm another, you must provide proof of your claims and address the evidence that shows your words to be false. It's called accountability. As I said before, I spent the last year trying to persuade myself these acts were done out of misguided self-righteousness. I tried to correct the record, allow voices to be heard, but I was wrong. These attacks were malicious, and they must be challenged. My expanded statement can be found here. It's come to this, more to follow. And this guy, if you don't know, this guy's done. He's finished. There is no hope for Chris Avellone at this point. As far as like game development, he needs to go ahead and find a new career because he will not be returning to this one. Well, he could do maybe an indie publishing. I'm Chris Avellone. I'm a game writer. I've worked on Star Wars, Fallout, and Dying Light 2, amongst many other games. In 2012, I met a woman named Karissa at a convention in Atlanta called Dragon Con. We met at a bar after the convention. This gathering wasn't a sanctioned convention event. She looked my age. Now, mind you, let's talk about Karissa here. Can we click on this? There you go. Chris here is approximately 40. She's in her 20s. I don't know if he intended it. I hope he did. Saying she looked my age was an insult and probably made her mad. I know it made a bunch of rees mad on the internet, and that is great. That is great. She had no idea who I was, acted that way, and has admitted as much. She didn't know who I was, but she did know I was buying rounds for everyone. Like many in this story, she wasn't a colleague, she wasn't my employee, I wasn't her boss, and she wasn't in the game industry. One of the few gentlemen left in the world that still drink, Chris Avellone. Here's her tweet. So apparently things are going okay at this point in time. This is 2012. This is at the show. Karissa and I, DragonCon 2012, night after we first met. Photo and tweet both posted by Karissa. This tweet was deleted, but can be found archived here. At the end of the evening, 2 other riders and I escorted Karissa back to her room. When we got to the door, I made a move to kiss her. She reciprocated, and we made out enthusiastically in the hallway outside her room. We never went into her room. She had a roommate, of which I was unaware, who apparently, in the roommate's own words, slept through it. After several minutes, Karissa told me it wasn't a good idea to keep making out in the hallway, which made sense to me, so I stopped and we parted ways. We met up for drinks with the same group on the next few evenings and had fun. Everything after that seemed great. We didn't make out again. Correspondence, of which there was a lot, was enthusiastic. She wanted to hang out with me and the others at other conventions, including future Dragon Cons. Our last kiss is at 5 a.m. when I walked her to the train station at the end of the convention so she could get to the airport safely. She seemed cool. I liked her, and she seemed to like me. In her own words, we were friends. How often do you kiss your friends, though? A year later, 2013, we met up at the same bar at the same convention where Karissa and I had first met, drinking again. Her friend Jackie was there. Guys, stop buying drinks for women. That's a solution. Like, if you're going to buy a round of drinks, exclude all of the women. I'm not even joking anymore. You go, oh, we're going to buy a round for the bar. Men only, though. Done. Her friend Jackie was there. Karissa encouraged me to get together with Jackie, whispering to me, you should hit on Jackie. I did. Jackie reciprocated, and we spent the night together. I liked spending the night with Jackie a lot, and she liked spending it with me, as her correspondence indicated. So we continued to see each other. Back to Karissa. While Karissa and I made out in the hallway outside her hotel room and had a goodbye kiss at the train station, we never did more than that. We were friends for about a year and a half, meeting not only at DragonCon 2013, but also at other game conventions like PAX East in 2013. See the photo? We exchanged enthusiastic correspondence and made plans to see each other. I helped her out with interviews for her friends and networking favors for her, and everything between us seemed great. Oh, gee, Mr. Chris Avellone-chan, I have no idea that you're in the gaming industry. At this convention buying rounds for everyone. Oh, shucks me. It's surprising to see you on the guest list and see you here in person, but I don't know who you are. Yeah, sure. Will you please get interviews for my friends, Chris-chan? Please? How about network for me? Oh, come on. The friend she set me up with, Jackie, and I saw each other for about a year. We weren't dating. We weren't boyfriend and girlfriend. You were banging, though. Jackie lived very far away from me, and I was working very long hours at the office, which didn't leave a lot of free time, so I told her I couldn't commit to more. Midway through the year, I was hanging out with Jackie. Things started fraying between Jackie and I. Jackie became unhappy. I do not fully know the reason for this, but I assumed that Jackie wanted more from me, which I couldn't give her at the time because of work and stress. Worse, she seemed to be communicating something different about our interactions to Karissa and her friends, and this was evidenced in both Karissa and Kelly's accusations in 2020. They called me Jackie's boyfriend, and that I was in a committed relationship with Jackie, neither of which is true. Was true. Again, dude, these things are out to get guys. I don't know why. I don't know. Well, I do know why. Let's be real. Because it works. Because it's worked basically every time. It works every time. They have no risk. These guys have lots of risk. If you look, I am not a MGTOW guy. I'm not. I think there is still hope for relationships in this world. This isn't a relationship I would endorse in general. Long distance relationship where you meet up and smash on a repeated basis, but you say you're not involved. Look, these chicks don't think this way. They're like, yeah, every time I see him, we're having sex. I'm definitely marrying him probably next year. It's a completely different perspective. And guys of any level of prominence need to stop with these relationships. They need to stop it. They may be calling, I'm not in a relationship with this. If you keep seeing the same person on some sort of schedule and every time you see each other, you smash, you're in a relationship to her. And when you get out of it, when you try and leave it, oh, there's no hard feelings, right? We're just screwing around. Oblivious B sent me a Lemon Man sticker. Thank you so much for that one, B. There it is. There's the lemon love. I don't know what that is. When Jackie and I began to develop problems, Karissa's attitude towards me changed. She became increasingly negative, then hostile. Recognizing that Karissa was Jackie's friends, I made efforts to continue to be nice to Karissa despite her anger. In September of 2014, again at the same convention where I met her, Karissa eventually became so hostile in texts, I chose not to speak to her any longer. Also, in no small part to Karissa's insertion into our affairs, Jackie and I argued, and I stopped seeing Jackie not long after, although Jackie indicated she still wanted to continue to see me. After September 2014, while I still corresponded with Jackie, I didn't speak or communicate with Karissa ever again. Fast forward 6 years. I mean, that's a big yada yada. In June 2020, to my surprise, Karissa went on Twitter late on a Friday night and delivered a long list of accusations based on our first encounter way back in 2012. I believed she was changing the narrative of every interaction she had had with me to put me in the worst possible light. Yes. Nailed it. Her motivation felt petty. Yes. Nailed it. But the accusations were not. They were very serious. She accused me of forcibly getting her drunk, of targeting her with drinks, even though I was buying rounds for a crowd of people. Stop buying these hoes booze. Stop it. Stop it. If you are single, you are straight edge. Stop buying hoes booze. You gotta stop it. Even though I was buying rounds for a crowd of people, of using the company dime to do so, of assaulting her, and a whole host of other accusations, too many to list. One of her friends and another close friend of Jackie, Kelly, also chimed in, supporting Karissa and adding an odd story of her own that supposedly took place in 2014. I took these stories seriously, but I didn't respond at the time. I'm responding now. This is the first time I've spoken about it in depth. Part of the motivation for this is because it was brought to my attention that later in 2020, Karissa started deleting a large section of her past Twitter postings. Almost 60,000 plus tweets. That's an embarrassing amount of Twitter use. So, okay, guys, I've got a dating tip for you. This is a real life dating tip. Oh, hey girl, what's your phone number? What's your Twitter handle? What's your Twitter handle? Then you immediately go to Social Blade, and if she tweets more than once a day, end it immediately. Immediately, and never talk to her again, ever. There, I've just stopped 1,000 Me Too's from occurring. I mean it. If her monthly average is 33, gone. Get out. You're done. She did this a short while after some of her older questionable posts that contained conflicts with her original accusations were discovered in her timeline. Many of which were removed and stored, but it made me uncomfortable she might do more and caused me to examine the ones that had been saved in more depth, and a pattern emerged. This is a story all about how Karissa, Kelly, Jackie, and I turned upside down. I hope you'll be willing to read it and take it as seriously as Karissa's accusations, because both merit attention. No, you want me to take it much more seriously than I take her accusations. This isn't the last that will be said on this subject, but it's an introduction. It'll widen the perspective on what happened. Industry problems and the culture of silence. I'm in the game industry, and there are many problems in the game industry that need to be addressed. We should not be silent about them, and when people come forward, we should listen to their voices. I listened for a year. First mistake, you listened to them. You gave them any credence and credibility. These people were not genuine. They were never genuine. Let's see. SJBS Mama. Hold on. Where is... I'm trying to find her. Whoops. Here we go. Her tweets are protected. Strange how that works. So, SJBS Mama. Let's go ahead and hit Twitter. Let's take a look at this one. See what interesting stuff we can find on Social Blade. I think we can find something interesting like right here. You see this? This is an interesting little stat. Okay, so her tweets have gone, her tweets are very low right now, right? She's not tweeting very much. Her account is protected. But let's see, monthly gained followers. So here we go. This is when she made her accusations. You can tell that pretty easily. And here is where she prepared for all of this. Or no, this is where she lost a bunch of followers. In February of 2019. But here we go. Monthly gained tweets. 800 to 900 tweets a month. So, you know, she's got some ups and downs. 1,200, 200, 300. She's averaging 10 tweets a day minimum. And then here we go. Negative 62,912 tweets. Negative 62,912 tweets. Why? Why would you delete that? Oh, I don't know. She probably just deleted her whole Twitter. Deleted all of the Twitter tweets that were up. Scrubbed them for no apparent reason. And then went on a tear. 1,400 tweets, 1,500 tweets, 1,000 tweets, 2,600 tweets, 1,000 tweets, 500, 1,000. Her likes don't really matter. So there you go. That's what's been going on. And now she is totes protected. Totes protected. When someone feels they have been wrong, their story should not be dismissed. I again get what you're doing. I'm inclined to disagree with you. Their story should be tested and then dismissed. These stories should be investigated as if they are true. No, they should just be investigated. They should not be treated as true. This is one of the worst things we have started to do as a culture, is to treat falsehoods as if they are true without verification, and then work backwards to disprove the true statement. When they involve accusations against other people, life and reputation destroying accusations, no, they should not be treated as true. They should be investigated as neutral. I also believe all facts should be put forth before judgment is delivered. But while that's great, by stating this part, you have already said that this part doesn't work out. So no, you got to change that perspective. So when Karissa and her close friend Kelly accused me of being a sexual predator on social media in 2020, I didn't try to shout them down or silence them. I listened. My only response, which I maintained at the time of their accusations, was I believed that Kelly and Karissa made these claims because of the bad split I had with their friend Jackie many, many years ago in 2014. This felt like revenge. At the time of Karissa and Kelly's accusations, I had little evidence to show this change except for Carissa's own pattern of correspondence, a correspondence that changed dramatically when Jackie and I began to have problems. As one example, in 2014, well after our initial meeting, but more importantly, before Jackie and I started having problems, Karissa posted the following statement. Been thinking about why I don't experience much abuse/harassment as a female gamer cosplayer when it seems to be so rampant. No ideas. I'm always taken a little aback when my fellow femme gamers/nerds have story after story of abuse harassment because I just don't have my own. She adds to this in another tweet, and strangely enough, when it does, it's usually another woman. I have no idea what she meant by that. This tweet concerning women is archived here. I'd also stress the abuse harassment tweet above wasn't made in direct reaction to another post. It's not any sort of reply to another post at all. It's something she gave thought to, then posted. This was one of the 60,000 tweets she deleted. A short while after this particular statement and others was discovered and shared on Twitter. I'll repeat this. Jackie is someone Karissa set me up with at a bar at the same convention a year after Karissa and I had our makeout session. Setting up a friend with someone you believe to be a sexual predator is an unusual way to treat a friend. It is not something I would do to any friend of mine. Mithrin Emra says, quote, these are serious accusations. Starts by riffing on the Fresh Prince theme song. Makes me willing to take her seriously. And I believed that Karissa, years later in 2020, not having any other way to hurt me after the bad split with Jackie, decided to attack me another way. Why 2020? That's another story. I believe she was triggered by seeing me in a seemingly prominent IGN interview. Seeing me featured on IGN may have made it seem like I was still in the industry, still employed, and I was getting enough attention that IGN would want to do an interview. There's much, much more to that IGN interview and the press in general, but I'll elaborate on that later. It was handled poorly. They cropped my female lead's input and presence completely out of the video, and the handling of it disgusted me. Please be aware that what I say here is only a very small part of the story, and what I'm sharing is a small part of all the receipts, facts, correspondence, pictures, and witness testimony that has been gathered over the course of a year since Karissa made her accusations. There is simply too much to share, and here is not the place to share all of it at this time. There's a reason for this, which I'll get to. Yes, you're going to need to get to it. Let's see here. Okay. What? Oh, got it. As I said at the time of Karissa and Kelly's accusations in 2020, their seeming motivation in attacking me was something I understood. They were still angry about my breakup with their friend Jackie many years ago. This wasn't in doubt. It was referenced explicitly in the accusations. This struck me as strange because it didn't have anything to do with their stories on the surface, unless, of course, it was the reason for their claims. It seemed like they wanted justice for Jackie, even though Karissa had already gotten what she wanted from me years ago, to make me break up with Jackie. To be 100% clear, this isn't what Jackie wanted, which makes the whole situation even more messed up. And the end result was it caused a lot of hurt feelings. But I had done what Karissa demanded. I had broken things off with Jackie. You should have told this chick to get lost. What were you thinking? This was wrong of me, as Karissa shouldn't have influenced things at all. But I did it anyway and broke things off in no small part due to Carissa's continued insertion into our relationship and threatening texts to me. Block her. Block her. Who cares what she has to say about your relationship? Block her. This is one of the... Notice how your compliance is rewarded. No. To this day, I don't know exactly why Karissa wanted this. Yes, you do. This chick was thirsty as hell for you. Oh my gosh. These escalating texts and anger from Karissa seemed to be fueled by what I can only guess was some unhappiness about my relationship with Jackie that Jackie was fueling to Karissa in private, to which I had no defense because I wasn't part of the conversation. The only time I was aware something was wrong was when I got a notification on my phone and the Karissa text doom scroll would start. Again, breaking up with Jackie is not what Jackie wanted, not at all. There are many receipts to this effect. She wanted to keep seeing me, but Karissa did not approve of us seeing each other, so she tried to convince me, then threatened me to break things off, and I finally decided to give in because I just wanted Karissa to stop. I wanted Karissa out of my life. Block the dumb hooker. Block her. Block her. She's literally nobody. Block her. You want her out of her life, out of your life? Say, stop contacting me. Block. Done. Done. I had never asked for Karissa in the relationship, and her continued insertion into our relationship took its toll. I was seeing Jackie because I wanted to see Jackie, not Karissa. Is he coyly trying to indicate that Karissa was trying to enter into a poly relationship with them? Is that what's going on here? Because it's kind of looking like that's what's going on here. That's, if we read between the lines, it looks like, you know, why don't you set up with her? You should go hit on her. She's kind of pretty, whatever. Yeah. Yeah. She just wants to play, I'm guessing. It was not enough. It doesn't end there. Even breaking things off with Jackie was not enough. Karissa continued her attacks by her own admission. At no point did Karissa ever go as far as she did in 2020, at least publicly. In June 2020, 8 years after we had first met, Karissa's attacks changed and went in a new direction. Karissa leveraged the social climate to begin a new round of attacks, repainting the one time she and I made out almost 8 years ago into something worse. Her ridiculously long list of accusations can still be found on Twitter. She presented many of them as facts, some as implied speculation that was equally damaging. Speculation isn't a crime. Facts that are untrue and can be verified are different. I haven't mentioned much about Kelly, Karissa, and Jackie's other friend, but I'll do that now since she chose that moment to also publicly join in the attacks with a news story of her own. This is likely the last I'll speak in detail about her because she's a strange case. She's a friend of Karissa's I don't remember meeting. Not because of drinking, but because I've seen her picture and I don't remember her at all. Oh God, that's not good. That's not good. That's going to make her mad too. She claimed I touched her inappropriately and propositioned her at a bar in 2014, while Karissa and Jackie, who were nearby, never noticed anything and never knew about it until Karissa made her accusations. It was very strange, and she had never said anything to Karissa, since apparently they had many negative conversations about me, and Karissa was clearly an ally. Kelly also claimed she and I spoke, and I've never had any conversation with her I can recall, ever. Weird, so she lied. I mean, there you go. That's pretty simple. Furthermore, her story, which made no sense to me, seemed to be worded so that it couldn't be confirmed except by her. However, I looked into it further, and contradictions started to pop up. I wasn't sure what to think, but the worst conclusion was that as Jackie's friend, she felt she needed to join in the attack to create the illusion of multiple incidents of improper behavior on my part. Also, to be clear, like Karissa, Kelly is also not in the game industry and has no professional connection to me. What does this sound like? God, it sounds so fucking familiar. Where would these things come out? Where, as an ally, you need to manufacture a set of alternative factual things about an encounter. Where have I heard this before? Where have I heard this before? Karissa and Kelly, for better or worse, have posted a great deal about DragonCon and many details of their lives on social media for all to read. Many of them relate directly to their claims. Some of this social sharing was deleted after making their accusations, but not all. Some deletions, notably from Jackie, were done before the accusations to erase any past friendly correspondence between us or any suggestion of goodwill. Some were done for unknown reasons, but all of these posts, both the ones they deleted but were saved and ones that still exist, have provided further evidence against their claims. When canceling someone, you need to be careful about how much of your life you've shared on social media related to your accusations. And if you've shared contradictory information, deleting it won't help you. No, it still does, though. It still helps you, Chris, because especially when the accused waits a year to present the receipts, they've had a year to run roughshod over you. They've had a year of it. In short, Kelly's story doesn't hold up, and I wouldn't have been able to confirm this if she herself hadn't accidentally revealed witnesses, even though apparently in another version there were no witnesses. When speaking to these same individuals, they were surprised they had been mentioned and completely discounted her story. Nevertheless, Kelly jumped on the bandwagon to call me a sexual predator, so I'm including her story here because that's the accusation she chose to make on social media, and you should hear it for context. Karissa and Kelly's accusation of predation is untrue, as were a number of other falsehoods Karissa accused me of. And make no mistake, Karissa accused me of everything she could, for which I have no explanation beyond she hoped at least one of her false accusations would trigger someone to believe her. And even if they did not believe her explicitly, perhaps she hoped to trigger someone who believed strongly in taking a stand against the broader subject of what she was claiming, regardless of what had occurred. I have never violated consent with anyone, ever. Even Karissa's story of the two of us making out outside her hotel room was consensual. It didn't matter, though. The results of her accusations were the same. The results of these attacks shouldn't surprise anyone. Virtually no one will leap to defend someone accused of all the many things Karissa and Kelly claimed, regardless of whether they believe the story or not. It's not culturally appropriate to defend anyone accused of these things, even if the accusations haven't been verified. You know why, Chris? It's because the accused refused to defend themselves. The accused refused to defend themselves. So people are not super anxious to put their names and reputations on the line for people who don't want to defend themselves. Waiting a year may be the reason you don't have support. I wonder if a year ago in 2020, if people would have been willing to defend someone who was falsely accused, where would you find people that might be willing to do that? God, I wonder. Jason Alator says, yep, this man has clearly lost his sack and his man card. Let's give Chris a little bit of a break, though. He's in a cesspool industry, an absolute cesspool of an industry. He's in an industry of people where everyone around him is afraid. All the guys are afraid of the same thing, and all the women are horrific vultures that have been infiltrating the industry to do this for years. They feel they are owed something by the industry itself, and the industry is men, and therefore every man they encounter owes them something. Every man in the industry. That's just how it is. Look at Anita, look at Zoe Quinn, look at these horrific monsters that are in there. Let's see. That is why, rather than assuming guilt for either party, our society has other means to settle such accusations such as these, in order to ensure all voices are heard. Social media is not one of these places, Twitter being one of the worst, but it's where they're all actually settled, Chris. For those of you that did ask questions about what Karissa and Kelly claimed, thank you. For those who offered support, thank you. For those willing to listen before rushing to judgment, thank you. I believe all these same people will also agree I did not do anything to fight Kelly and Karissa and others saying accusations. Far from it. Not because of guilt, but because, as I said at the time of these accusations, I do not want to silence anyone. That is not how the truth comes out. Your first mistake is pretending that anybody in this is interested in truth. Nobody wants to hear your truth, Chris. As of this posting, it has been a year since Karissa and Kelly made their claims. Karissa has been heard, Kelly has been heard, and so have the voices of others. The problem is, what Karissa, Kelly, and others have said contains serious falsehoods that not only hurt the individuals involved, but hurt others, including other accusers, harming them as well when they parroted Karissa's false accusations. I'll get to that in another post since it was a symptom of what happened here and it's damaging for both Karissa and for those individuals. But for now, I want to focus on Karissa and Kelly's falsehood. Falsehood is not a word I use lightly. There are receipts, evidence, and testimony from even Karissa and Kelly's own witnesses that directly contradict all of their stories and contradict the stories of others who jumped on the bandwagon. I wanted to clarify this point again. Some have claimed Karissa, Kelly, and others who believed to be wronged by me were colleagues of mine. They were not. I've never worked with any of them. They were not coworkers. They were not my employees. I was not their boss ever. They claimed I bragged about where I worked. This is ridiculous, especially considering my work situation at the time and the trouble the company was in. Bragging about the company I was working for at the time, as one person said, would be a weird flex for me. They're right. Even without that factor, I don't brag about the companies I work for, even though I am proud of the teams and the projects I am part of, and say as much in person on social media to give credit where credit is due. There was no display of managerial or star power. Karissa herself didn't even know who I was when she met me. Dude, I bet she did. By her own admission. I would bet she did. Max Grift. Yeah, this is clearly written with the anti-slap in mind. That is why he keeps saying he's not trying to silence anybody. That's the anti-slap. Him trying to head off the anti-slap. That's not gonna be the work on it. But in the end, I very much doubt Karissa cared if I even had a name when she met me beyond seeing a guy buying rounds of drinks for everyone. No one was targeted, but the falsehoods come out nonetheless. No, she cared that you had a name. She cared about someone buying drinks for everybody because that is someone that can get her something more than what she had. Period. 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 It is the language of advantage. After the initial night when Karissa and Kelly attacked me on Twitter, Friday, June 19th of 2020, I chose not to respond further for a number of reasons. I am at fault for many things. Even if they are not what Karissa accused me of, I was not always kind to her friend Jackie and others. Feelings were hurt, but the crime of hurting someone's feelings does not merit the fabricated accusations of sexual assault. I did try to reach out to Karissa and I was rebuffed. Told, in essence, I didn't deserve an answer, that Karissa owed me nothing concerning her accusations. Like the accusations themselves, this is untrue, but we'll get to that in a bit. Why did I reach out? It is because in the past, whenever it became apparent I had hurt someone emotionally, Jackie being one of them, I apologized at the time. When I had the unpleasant breakup with Jackie in 2014, I apologized then, and I unwisely apologized to Jackie again in 2020. Never, say it with me now, never apologize. Never apologize. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Any Lucas Painter says, I once wanted to be a scenario writer in the game industry. Never really found my way in, but honestly glad these days. Probably dodged a wealth of bullets. When someone communicates they have been hurt, my first instinct is to make amends because that is how I was raised, and it is how I strive to act in my daily life. I don't believe any human being wants to hurt another. You're talking about 3 of them right now that want to hurt you. And when hurt is expressed, it is human to try and make amends. You gotta, nope. It's not human, actually. That's something different. Karissa has called my behavior in the past that of a gentleman, but she's wrong. It's a basic human decency. Nope, you need to change that. You got to change that. Consequences love companies. There were consequences to their accusations, of course. When Karissa and Kelly made their accusations, I was cut off from almost every studio I was working with. None of these studios did any investigations I'm aware of. Of course not. Why would they? Some didn't have time. They only had the weekend, and rarely is everyone in a company working on a weekend, or they didn't take the time. I say didn't have time because the accusations were made late on a Friday. I believe this may have been done deliberately. Since Karissa herself admitted she had delayed her accusations, and furthermore, it's difficult for companies, especially HR or legal, to respond over a weekend. This allowed Karissa's and Kelly's accusations to spread and become viral. For companies overseas I was working for, like Techland, Dying Light 2, and Gato Salvaje, the Waylanders, her accusations effectively hit on a Saturday. So when Monday morning hit, I received calls and emails, and in many of them, notably Techland and Gato Salvaje, separation agreements and statements had already been drafted before they communicated to me directly. This next bit might surprise you. I didn't fight any of this. You can't. Cancel culture being what it is, the companies can't fight it either, or else they are attacked too. So what? Stop simping for the companies. Attacked by who? Attacked by who? What companies like, oh my God, we're gonna be attacked by who? By like terrorists? By like Allahu Akbar? And like, no, on Twitter. So what? Companies can't even ask for time to look into it without coming across as not believing the accusations, as unfounded as they are. We saw this with Funimation, by the way. You know, they were hounded from January 29th all the way through February 11th when they made their post. Because even the hint of a delay or wanting to find out more will be judged and will get them canceled too. Except you can't cancel a development company because they won't cancel themselves. Like what is this? What are we doing here? Let's be very clear here. You can't cancel a company that is independently creating something. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. The people who buy the games don't actually care about any of this. Like, I hope people understand that. Like, let's say someone at CD Projekt Red was found out to be a rapist. Is that going to hurt the sales of Cyberpunk? No, it's actually not. It's amazing because people will still buy the same amount of Cyberpunk they were going to buy. You might lose a handful of sales, but overall, the numbers are going to be the same. You know, will hurt the sales of Cyberpunk is being bitches and releasing a garbage game. That is actually going to damage the sales of Cyberpunk. Same thing for all of these other things. What is it? Last of Us 2. Last of Us 2 had some of the most vehemently negative press ever. But guess what? Their sales numbers were great. Great sales numbers. What was that? That Star Wars game with the loot boxes, the EA game or whatever, that had the most downvoted Reddit post ever? It still sold really well. No, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares on any of this stuff. They don't care about they barely care about genuine issues with the game. They certainly don't care about obscure issues with developers that they don't even know. So companies can do all this. They're just not going to. And no one wants to get canceled, even if it means turning your back on someone else getting canceled, even someone you'd worked with in the trenches for years. That's a true statement. Nobody wants to go through it. No one at all. I understood all of this, tried to be gracious, and tried to not make it difficult for them. This is because I understood cancel culture, how it works. Well, this guy has been friends with Jesse Pridemore. So I think, yeah, maybe he does understand cancel culture, right? How it works in the difficult situation that any show of hesitation would put these companies in. Many of the developers I worked with at these companies were friends and colleagues. I didn't want to hurt them, nor did I want to hurt the projects I was once a part of. The subsequent public statements some of these companies made seemed to reinforce my guilt, even if they didn't directly condemn me. Karissa, with apparent glee, thanked Techland profusely for letting me go. It may have been what she had hoped for all along. So here's the statement regarding our cooperation with Chris Avellone from Techland. We treat matters of sexual harassment and disrespect with utmost care and have no tolerance for such behaviors. It applies to both our employees as well as external consultants, Chris among them. This is why, together with Chris Avellone, we've decided to end our cooperation. We are still working towards delivering the experience we promised in Dying Light 2, both on our narrative team, which Chris supported, and the whole development team of Dying Light 2 continue progressing efficiently according to the plan revised at the beginning of this year. What a fucking mistake this was. What a mistake this was. That makes him look guilty as shit. Guilty as shit from that statement. He's like, well, I tried to make it easy for him. No one wants to be canceled. Bro, that's not you making it easy for them. That's them flat out calling you a sexual harasser. Let's see. This one's, let me get this super chat quick. Lamar76 Metal says, hey, Nick, I don't ask for prayers often, but I need them for my wife who just found out she's probably with second child. She's 2 hours away in the ER because her nose has been pouring blood off and on. Hey, if you are a praying person, Lamar76 Metal could use those prayers right now for some help and healing and comfort for his wife and their potential second child. So hopefully everything is okay, man. Genuinely hope everything's okay. Please know that even saying this, I don't bear Techland any ill will. What? Why? Why don't you bear them any ill will? They threw you under every bus. They're like, no, that bus isn't going fast enough. Let's wait for the next one. I hear that driver doesn't know how to read speed limit signs. Dude, I still consider myself fortunate that I lasted longer than the other writers for Dying Light 2. There were a lot, some I never even got the chance to meet before they were gone, even though I doubt anything I contributed still remains in the game, and I'm fine with that. I will admit, though, both of their statements, especially the Gato Salvaje one, the Waylanders and the studio that had pushed for the unwanted IGN video, were painful to read. Yeah, because they called you a sexual harasser. There's more to Karissa's behavior, what triggered this and the company responses and the companies in general, but I'll leave that for another time. For now, I'll focus on what happened next. The press. We're almost done with the article, then we'll get to the lawsuit. While a few, not all of the press reached out to me, I could not respond. I was in a pretty dark place, and I took steps to avoid the internet and to avoid any contact with the outside world. I confess I was considering more drastic steps, and this isn't unusual when one is targeted in these situations. Let's see. He's talking about Etika right there. He's talking about finding a bridge and jumping off of it. That's what he's talking about. This is the reality of cancel culture. They know it when they do it. They want you dead. And if you are dead by your own hand, all the better. This is what they want. All of these platforms, by the way, have policies against the encouragement of suicide. Cancel culture is a driver to suicide. It is absolutely on the minds of the canceled. Your entire life's work, your name, everything is destroyed in a moment. And you think, What am I supposed to do about this? What am I supposed to do about this? There's no way to recover. Oh, no. We would never want him to kill himself. We just want him starving to death in a gutter, being chain raped by homeless people and full of heroin that he didn't buy. That's what we want. We wouldn't want him to kill him. Okay. Fortunately, I had family and loved ones around me, and they provided enough stability to keep going. But for the most part, I avoided email and avoided the internet. Press didn't check facts either. Of course not. It's the video game press. Video game journalists can't even play the games they report on. You think they're going to look for facts? Press didn't check facts either, despite Karissa claiming their articles were further confirmation of her story. At some point, Karissa appeared to stop relying on her own words and kept pointing to companies, press, and others as validation. Sound fucking familiar, by the way? Does any of this sound familiar? It's almost like there's a playbook, like they know exactly how to do all of this, like this is a literal scheme on ruining someone and destroying them. It's almost like you create the buzz and then you use the buzz itself to reinforce your own claims, even though all of it sources back to just the shit you made up. Which wasn't proof. They were just echoes of her own stories and sometimes echoes of the falsehood she told. She even publicly stated that she essentially dictated her story to the journalist who interviewed her, criticizing Kotaku for being the only outlet that gave her any pushback. And look where the pushback came from, Kotaku. Was the pushback, do you need a pillow with that, ma'am? I should point out that some of the press didn't reach out to me at all before painting their own lurid interpretation of events with their own embellishments. Sean Murray of The Gamer in particular. You can read it in his article, and you can see the unedited URL that references it to this day. To be clear, the game press don't need to check the facts. All they need to do is report that someone said something or fall back on the word alleged. And it's a story, and so they did. And the clicks started rolling in. As soon as the press reports something like this, however, carries the same validation as if it was researched and fact-checked, which no press publication, to my knowledge, did. Either they didn't take the time, or they may not have cared because it's not really on them for the truth. You're misunderstanding who these people are. The Gamer isn't the press. The Gamer is not a press outlet. They report on stories. They don't report stories. They report on stories. That's a different sort of thing. There's two aspects of the press. One that talks about what's going on, and another one that is investigative journalism. And that one has gone significantly down. Because why investigatively journalism something when you could just report on the story and get the same number of clicks with, what, a billionth the investment? Let's see. All they have to do is report someone said something, which is technically the truth, but it's far from the reality of what actually occurred. Now that things have calmed, I have the strength to respond, and so do others who were cited or involved in these accusations. I don't want them ignored or silenced. I want their words elevated, and I want them heard. Advice. When Karissa and Kelly post their falsehoods on social media, I got a great deal of conflicting advice from friends and colleagues. Among the advice was 1, never apologize. Yes. And 2, use the legal system in the manner in which it was intended. Both of these are contrary to my nature. Then die. Then die on the ground. Because that's, if you're going to apologize and you're not going to full on confront the accusers, then just go over there and die, because that's what you're asking for. There is no middle ground. There is no compromise. You cannot compromise with poison. Ask Ayn Rand about it. That was one of the better things she ever said. How does a human life compromise with poison? There is only life or death. That is it. You cannot shy away. They're not. That's like saying, well, Germany's invading, but taking up arms and fighting back is against my nature. Okay, then you lose because Germany is taking up arms and fighting front. So if you're not taking up arms and fighting back, guess where you end up? You become Germany. The never apologize rule felt inhuman to me. Can you never apologize? Does not mean literally never apologize to people that you individually wrong on a personal level. That's not what it means. Like if you bump into someone at the supermarket, oh hey, I'm sorry. I don't know, you like drop someone's cake, like you got a birthday cake, and they're like, yeah, some like kid is waiting for their birthday cake, and oh shit, and you drop the cake. I'm so sorry. Of course you're sorry. Of course you're sorry. Never apologize means don't apologize to the mob. Don't apologize to the culture, because the culture and the mob don't want your apology. They don't care if it's genuine. It's not real. It doesn't matter. It is just a minor hurdle on their path towards what they want. So apologizing is useless to the mob, because if you apologize and the mob accepts it, the mob has nothing to do. The mob can never be left without a goal. If the mob is without a goal, the mob dies. Guess what? You may want to die because of your beta tendencies or whatever. The mob does not want to die. The mob very much wants to continue. Apologizing to it won't matter because it needs to progress through the apology anyway to get to its goal. It's like if you put a small piece of cheese in front of the mouse while it's trying to get to a big piece of cheese covered in peanut butter. Guess what? It'll just eat the small cheese and move on because it's still hungry. The apology is useless to it. I quickly learned my mistake the night of Karissa's accusations when I publicly apologized to Karissa's friend, Jackie, for the bad breakup in 2014. And then I watched as that apology was taken, warped, and then upheld as an admission and an apology to Karissa herself. It was not true then. It is not true now. Hey, Chris. To all the people out there, to everybody out there who's about to get Me Too'd, are you fucking kidding me? Just call me. Just call me. And I'll tell you what not to do. Just do. I'll charge you barely anything. I'll charge you barely anything. Just call me. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, I'm thinking of apologizing. Don't! No! Bad dummy. You don't do that. What next? Oh, I'm going to do an interview with the press. No! No! Don't do it. No. What if I just answer their question? No! No! The only answer you give, everything they said is a lie. All of it. All of it. All of it's a lie. Everything they said. What about their name? They're lying about that. Do you fucking know? Have you even checked? Did you check their driver's license records? Did you check a passport? Do you even know if you're talking to the person? Oh, you didn't? Weird. You got an email? Have you met them? No. You talked on the phone? Who was it? Did you call them? Did they call you? Where'd you get the number? Did you even check? No, it's a lie. Everything's a lie. How do you know anything about any of these people? This just happened. How's your fact checking going? Come back to me when you can prove any of this is real. Until then, fuck you. It's a lie. It's a lie. All of it's a lie. Others suggested the legal route. I didn't want to do this. Sound familiar? Often the legal system is used to silence others. No, that's actually a lie too. That is a misnomer. The legal system is not often used to silence others. Occasionally, it's used to silence others by people with tons of money to burn on a lawsuit. Most people don't have that money. So often it's not used to silence others. That's a lie. Stop feeding into that. I do not believe any good ever comes of this. I do not want to silence anyone. You're not silencing anyone unless you ask the court to silence somebody. I want the opposite. I want Karissa and Kelly's stories to not only be heard, but elevated, and I want them to speak more about what happened. Oh, yeah. I get what he's doing here, but he's completely wrong on this. I spent the last year trying to persuade myself that these acts were done out of a misguided sense of self-righteousness, tried to correct the record, dispel misconceptions, allow voices to be heard, but it's clear I was wrong. The attacks against me were made from malice. I'm ready to defend myself, and setting the record straight is the first step. There's more to the story. I believe you'll want to hear it too, in the right time, in the right place for everyone to hear. Thanks for reading this. Much more to come. Okay. There we go. That is his statement. Now we have a lawsuit. Now we have a lawsuit. Sauce, I was not wrong about The Last of Us Part 2. The Last of Us Part 2 had record-breaking sales. Record-breaking sales. The overwhelming majority of people didn't give a shit. So, no, wasn't wrong about it. Tom King says, did you see even Kotaku admitted today the game's journalism is beyond saving? Over half a decade late, if you ask me, but at least their editor is coming to terms. Their desperate headlines on the way out should be fun. Ugh. Kefka Fanatic for the first week, Nick. Their record-breaking sales. they were like, they might have been higher. They were record-breaking sales. This is the dying on the hill of The Last of Us 2 got owned is a weird hill. It's a piece of garbage. No one should like it. It filled up a bunch of used bins, but guess what used bins are filled with? Sales. It sold a shit ton of copies. They're going to do a Last of Us 3. That'll be the test. Because Last of Us 2 wasn't the test. Record-breaking sales because the retailers were fooled by Sony to overstock sales. Yeah, and they did great. They made a shitload of money on it. I'm sorry. That's the industry thinks The Last of Us 2 did very, very well. So do the stockholders. But that's a different question. We're not talking about that now. We'll see. I hope The Last of Us 2 sells worse. It should. It should. Last of Us 2 is bullshit. It should. This guy is a lost cause. Sauce, show me the data. Show me the data. Show me the industry data on it. And email it to me. We'll go through it. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. But I have a feeling the data backs up my position. Let's see. Here we go. Here is the complaint. All right. So this is Christopher Avellone suing Karissa Barrows, Kelly Bristol, and Doe's 1 to 100. This is important. We'll get back to this in a little bit because there's a law Twitter dummy who made a big deal about this. Turns out he works for the same lawsuit or law firm as Akiva Cohen. And turns out he is unfamiliar with a basic step of California litigation practice. Shocker, shocker, Shocker. Plaintiff Christopher Avellone, by and through counsel, complains and alleges on information and belief as follows. Christopher Avellone is an individual who resides in the county of Orange. Upon information and belief, Avellone alleges that defendant Karissa Barrows is an individual who resides in Illinois. Upon information and belief, Avellone alleges that defendant Kelly Bristol is an individual who resides in Oklahoma. And here we have the first problem with this lawsuit, which is brought in state court of California, County of Los Angeles. We've got an immediate issue with this. This is the first problem with the, let's see. This is the first problem with the lawsuit, is that how do you get them into California? And this is the unfortunate reality of accusations on the internet. Is that how do you get it? How do you get them into California? You have to show that California has jurisdiction over them. We're going to look at their jurisdictional argument preview on this one. It's not very fleshed out. However, they are going to likely, this is likely a little bit of a honeypot tactic. Some risk reward stuff here. If the parties accept jurisdiction because California has an anti-SLAPP, and they would probably be encouraged to do so by a California lawyer that they discuss this with, they consult with. Say, go ahead and accept jurisdiction, file the anti-SLAPP. If you win, then you really win. And you can accept jurisdiction and use California's anti-SLAPP law. I don't know if Oklahoma or Illinois have anti-SLAPP laws, but if they do, they're likely not as strong as California's. So it's maybe a bit of a honeypot. They may have considered this and thought, they'll go ahead and take the bait. Okay. Upon information and belief, this court has jurisdiction over Barrows and Bristol because they have purposefully availed themselves of the benefits of California by willfully targeting and expressly aiming the effect of their conduct at California. Again, we'll have to see what the facts say about this. Barrows and Bristol made libelous statements about Avellone, a California resident who has a California-based computer game development career, knowing the computer game development industry that employs Avellone is centered in California. I don't know if this is actually enough. I don't know if it's actually enough. Saw says, I meant Chris was a lost cause, not you. Oh, thank you. Sorry for misunderstanding. I was like, man, I don't know what else to say. I've said my piece. Thank you for clarifying. Defendants Doe's 1 through 100 are sued herein by fictitious names for the reason that their true names are unknown to Avellone. Avellone will seek to leave to amend this complaint to allege the true names and capacities of these defendants when they have been ascertained. Avellone is informed and believed and bases thereon alleges that these fictitiously named defendants are responsible in some manner for the actions and damages alleged herein. This is wrongful conduct that was intentionally and purposefully directed at California. Now, this has come under fire from Law Twitter. This has come under fire from Law Twitter. And one of the familiar dummies from the Vic case. And they've said that announcing that there's 100 other people that are alleging sexual assault against you is not very smart. Hey, you dumb motherfucker. If you looked for 2 seconds into California litigation practice, like if you just read any of the state law claims in California, if you checked out any of them, alleging does 1 through 100 is a pretty common thing. 1 through 10, 1 to 100, depending on the size and scope of the suit and the organization that you may be suing. This is actually standard practice in California. Now, it's not standard in every state, and this is from Cusk Law out of New York, where Akiva Cohen is one of the lawyers. But Cuck Law doesn't allegedly is not California based, and this particular lawyer is not. If you would have looked at all, you would find that this is a commonplace in California civil litigation practice, including those 1 through 100, simply means there may be other people, and this is how you get them in under the statute of limitations in California. And we know that he's up against the statute of limitations, as this was filed almost exactly 1 year from the alleged statements. Do any looking into this, you dumb pile of garbage, and you would know this. But you didn't. Did ya? You thought you could just dunk. All right, anyway. Avellone is informed and believes and based thereon alleges that at all times herein mentioned, each unnamed defendant was the agent of the other named defendants herein, and at all times were and are acting with the purpose and scope of such agency, and with the permission and consent of his or her its named co-defendants, with knowledge, authorization, permission, consent, and or subsequent ratification and approval of each co-defendant. Avellone is further informed and believes, and based thereon alleges, that each named and unnamed defendant knowingly and willfully conspired and agreed among themselves to deprive Avellone of his rights and to cause the damages described therein. Venue is appropriate in this court because Avellone is designated the Superior Court of California, Los Angeles County in this complaint. See Civil Code of Civil Process 395, Subdivision A. If none of the defendants reside in state, the action may be tried in the Superior Court in any county that the plaintiff may designate in his or her complaint. Okay, so venue's proper if jurisdiction exists. Chadman, isn't Twitter in California, therefore posting Twitter targets California? No. No. General allegations. Avellone is an established computer game writer, having written games for blue-chip gaming franchises including Star Wars, Fallout, Dungeons & Dragons, and Dying Light. Avallone's more than 20-year career writing computer games has been based in California, primarily at the Southern California game developers Interplay Entertainment Corporation and Obsidian Entertainment, Inc. The computer game industry is worldwide, but many top studios are based in California alongside the rest of the entertainment industry. As a result of Avallone's status in his industry, he is often invited to conventions promoting computer games. Barrows and Bristol are computer game fans and cosplayers. You know what we need? I'm going to agree with Black Mirror on one specific thing. If you saw Black Mirror, there was one episode where you could block people from your own interactions with them. It was like a chip in your brain, and you could block people, and you could you when they showed up, you wouldn't actually see them. They'd just be a red silhouette with some blur in there, and you couldn't understand the words they said. Your brain would shut them out. They were filtered. Every cosplayer on Earth should be filtered out. Every cosplayer. Automatically, by everybody. You go to a convention, a woman walks by in cosplay, you don't even see her. Just a blob. Done. Done. Solve these dudes' problems quick. Stop it. Stop paying attention to cosplayers. They feed on attention. It's literally why they're dressed up. This is a recipe for disaster. Diamond Duck says cosplayer and didn't know who he was. Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Even Belle Delphine, especially Belle Delphine. Okay. Back to this. A cosplayer is a portmanteau of costume and player, meaning a person who wears costumes to represent characters from various entertainment media, primarily comics, animation, and computer games, who frequent conventions promoting computer games that often involve cosplay contests. At these conventions, cosplayers connect and network amongst themselves and with computer game creators. On August 30th, 2012, the evening before the Atlanta convention DragonCon, the DragonCon convention is held yearly over Labor Day weekend in Atlanta, Georgia, was scheduled to begin, Avellone and Barrows met for the first time at a bar filled with fellow convention goers. Later that night, Avellone and two fellow computer game writers escorted Barrows to her hotel room, where her roommate was settled in for the night. When the four arrived, Avellone and Barrows kissed and heavy petted outside her hotel room door. Moments later, when Barrows told Avellone that this is not a good idea, the sexual nature of their encounter stopped. Avellone and Barrows never had any sexual contact ever again. Immediately thereafter, Barrows made many public statements about enjoying the evening. Avellone and Barrows socialized through DragonCon 2012, including spending Barrows' last night in Atlanta together. In the early morning the next day, Avellone escorted Barrows to a train station for her departure. There's your second red flag. Taking trains? Get on a plane. What's wrong with you? From their first meeting in August 2012 until September of 2014, Barrows made many public statements about enjoying her friendly relationship with Avellone, her desire to socialize with Avellone at conventions, and her admiration for Avellone, who she didn't know and had no idea who he was. Barrows also sent direct messages to Avellone via Facebook.com from February 2013 to March 2014, arranging social outings, referencing their time together at DragonCon 2012 in a positive light, and hoping to recreate their time together and networking. At DragonCon 2013, the year after they first met, Barrows attempted to matchmake Avellone with her close friend. The match was successful, and Avellone was casually involved with Barrows' friend for about 1 year. For the purposes of this pleading, this woman is referred to as Avellone's then-girlfriend, though their intimate relationship was casual and non-exclusive. Avellone, his then-girlfriend, and Barrows all attended DragonCon in 2014. The three of them spent time together during the convention, including socializing. Bristol is a friend of Avellone's then-girlfriend and Barrows. Bristol was also at DragonCon 2014. During the convention, Bristol visited Pulse Bar at the Marriott Hotel, where Avellone, his then-girlfriend, Barrows, and a man named Scott were socializing. So he's referring to her as his then-girlfriend. That's kind of interesting, because he didn't he say they weren't boyfriend? They weren't in a relationship? But he's calling her his then-girlfriend in the case here. Barrows continually inserted herself into Avellone's relationship with his then-girlfriend. As a result, Avellone ceased all communication with the Barrows at the end of DragonCon 2014. First cause of action. So that's the whole facts section. Libel per se, count 1. Against Barrows and all of the John Does. No, Barrows is not then-girlfriend, but Chrissy is. Right? Not Chrissy. All these chicks have the same damn name. You know, the other one. What was her? That's Karissa. Jackie. He said he wasn't, let's see. Jackie and I saw each other for about a year. We weren't dating. We weren't boyfriend and girlfriend. That's what I'm saying. All right. On or about June 17th, 2020, the San Francisco-based video game and entertainment website IGN.com published an interview with Avellone and another female game writer about their work on role-playing computer games. Two veteran game writers' recipe for a great RPG. On or about June 18th, 2020, Barrows replied to a tweet posted by IGN promoting the interview posted on Twitter. Zero interest in anything from a man who spent so much time preying on young women, no age check, getting them drunk and taking them to hotel rooms, showing up to panels late and wasted, if at all, does this sound familiar, and treating fans and fellow industry so badly he was blacklisted from at least one big con. Does this sound familiar yet? It's a fucking playbook at this point. Young women, no age check. Are they over 18? Are they over 18? Then it doesn't matter if he checks their age, period. Period. Then he's got a footnote here. The emphasized portion in defendant's post to twitter.com throughout this pleading are the libelous statements upon which plaintiff files this complaint. The additional portions of defendant's post are provided here for context. Okay. So here we go. So this is a libel claim they're saying, right? So he's a man who spent so much time preying on young women, no age check. Is that a fact statement? I guess the no age check is a fact statement. Preying on them would be maybe an opinion. Getting them drunk, I guess that's a fact statement. And taking them to hotel rooms would also be a fact statement. A true and correct copy of Barrows' statements is attached as Exhibit 1 and is incorporated by reference. These false statements are of or about Avellone and are libelous on their face. The reader would reasonably understand the statements to be about Avellone and to mean that Avellone targeted young women, including women under the age of consent, by forcing them to become intoxicated for the purposes of engaging in non-consensual sexual contact. Okay, so this is defamation per se by inference. That's a tough one. It's a tough one, but okay. Barrows' false statement exposed Avellone to hatred, contempt, ridicule, and obloquy, and cause him to be shunned or avoided and have a tendency to injure him in his occupation without the necessity of explanatory matter. Barrows' statements are entirely false. Avellone has never targeted women of any age, forced any woman to become intoxicated for any purpose, including the purpose of engaging in non-consensual sexual contact. Okay, so this targeting women thing, I don't know if that's actually a fact statement. Forcing women to become intoxicated is probably a fact statement. But that, I mean, this is all going to be tough because they've gotten good at wording this. Barrows failed to use reasonable care to determine the truth or falsity of her statements. She actually knew her statements were false because she fabricated the libels therein. She spent limited time with Avellone, and evidence of any alleged sexual predatory conduct on the part of Avellone cannot exist because it never happened. On June 22nd, 2020, as a result of Barrows' statements, IGN updated its internet article adding, update, Waylander's studio Gato Salvaje provided the following statement to IGN. Chris Avellone is no longer associated with Gato Salvaje Studio or the Waylanders project. Chris was brought on as a design contractor on the Waylanders as of last week. Chris's contract is complete, and the content provided will be assessed as development progresses. Studio Gato Salvaje and the Waylanders team take matters of abusive and predatory behavior very seriously, and we stand against the kind of behavior that was alleged to have happened in the stories shared over the weekend. After a follow-up, the studio added Chris will not be included in the credits for the Waylanders by his own request. Okay. As a result of Barrows' statements, Avellone has suffered reputational harm in an amount to be proved at trial, lost employment and continues to lose employment, has suffered shame, mortification, and hurt feelings as a result of Barrows' libels. Barrows' conduct, this is irrelevant. This shouldn't be in there. Like, this is a dumb statement to me. Barrows' conduct in making the libels were done with a conscious disregard of Avellone's rights, with the intent to vex, annoy, and/or harass Avellone. Such conduct was unauthorized and constitutes oppression, fraud, and/or malice under Civil Code Section 3294. entitling Avellone to an award of punitive damages in an amount appropriate to punish or set an example of Barrows in an amount to be determined at trial. Libel count 2 against Barrows. On or about June 19, 2020, Barrows posted a picture of her comment to IGN's tweet promoting Avellone's interview on twitter.com and posted the tweet, "While we're at it, quote, here's another man to add to the gaming industry predator garbage pile. Yesterday was the first time I said something publicly about this, and I'm done being silent despite that fuckstick in the replies telling me to shut up. I will not." Thread. Of course, it's a thread. This is probably not a libelous statement at all. Probably not. These false statements. So he's not a man. Are of or about Avellone and are libelous on their face. The reader would reasonably understand the statements to be about Avellone and to mean that Avellone is a sexual predator, meaning he is someone who engages in non-consensual sexual contact. Barrows' false statement exposed Avellone to hatred. I don't know. I mean, I get what they're saying here, but I don't know if that's going to hold up on this part. Barrows' false statements exposed Avellone to hatred, contempt, ridicule, and obloquy. Yes, entirely false. Failed to use reasonable care. Knew they were false. As a result of the statement, reputational harm and all that stuff. Barrows' conduct. Yeah, okay. Special damages. Third cause of action, libel per se against Barrows again. On or about June 19th, 2020, Barrows continued her thread on Twitter, posting in a series of continued tweets. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Retro Gamer says calling him a predator. Calling someone a predator probably should be libelous, but is not automatically libelous on its face. It actually is probably not. Probably not. That's why they use it so much. All right, so I witnessed and experienced Avellone's behavior firsthand. He got me blackout drunk on Midori Sours on the company dime. He and two friends somehow got me back to my room, where he pounced in front of the other guys. They left after a few moments, also drunk, and one of them told me what he had witnessed the next evening. I had very vague impressions that someone had made out with me when I woke up that morning, but thought it was a dream. When I asked Chris about it, he told me that I had eventually refused him. When more of the night came back to me, I realized the only reason I was able to refuse him in my blackout stupor was because I was on my period that weekend. The only reason. What? Huh? What? Okay. Someone's going to need to explain to me how her period power was the only way she was able to refuse him. Because I don't fucking understand it. The shame society places on menstruation actually came in handy for once. Smack my damn head. Other nights, I watched him do the same to other girls, some of whom looked far younger than me in my late 20s. At the time, and I've always looked young for my age. Bitch, no, you didn't. You did not. You better stop. The photos are there. If the jury looks at the photo, it says this chick is barely in her late 20s if she's not pushing past mid-30s. You do not look young for your age. He would disappear with one or another, come back, then come back to me. The entire con, I did not get drunk with him again, and he was a gentleman. About my refusals, including the one where I was drunk off my ass, and when he escorted me to the subway station at 4:30 a.m. the morning I left to go home, that kind of behavior is what not only kept me in denial about what was actually going on, but drove me to introduce him to one of my best friends. He was such a gentleman that I was driven to introduce him to one of my best friends. I still can't believe that companies are out there listening to this. I cannot believe that companies read this statement and were like, "Oh, you got to go. You got to go." Like, look, I'm sorry. I was such a gentleman that she introduced me to her best friend to date. It's really fucking hard. I know. I've been a bad man. Let's see. Who then endured over a year of heartache, gaslighting, and emotional abuse at his hands. Why don't they have this? This should be bolded, in my opinion, unless it's true. It was much easier to see then, and all of us who knew what was going on told her to get out. Eventually, she did. I would say that, but not before he raged out of a restaurant, drunk as fuck as usual. Like, this should all be bolded too, right? He's got the receipts that he left her. She did not want to break up with him. That should be bolded. Leaving her behind, after which point she wandered the downtown streets of a major convention city late at night, alone, looking for him because she was worried he would get hurt due to how drunk he was. This is the dumbest story I've ever read. This was my breaking point. I went to two men I worked with at this convention and reported the situation. Interestingly enough, they were already discussing his terrible behavior when I found them together to report it. With my testimony added, he was blacklisted right then and there. His behavior didn't stop, though. If anything, it got worse. It took years for his employer to finally fire him. I honestly don't recall the exact reason he was given. It was a while ago and I wasn't there personally. This was relayed to me by a friend who also worked there. He moved to other studios, other projects, other conventions until they stopped inviting him on their own accord. Whether due to behavior or relevance, I don't know. I pushed him out of my memory, as did my dear friends, and we only discussed our anger and discussed if he happened to come up. I've said something to some friends in journalism if he came up. Emily, the other game writer featured in the IGN interview, reached out to me after seeing my tweet to apologize. Thanks, Emily. For what, I asked her. She didn't know what he was like and carried no fault in this. Most didn't know unless they saw it. Still, no one said anything except in closed circles. I didn't say anything except in closed circles to warn people about his behavior. I have not idea if he's remotely better than he was then, but given how protected he's been from true consequences for his actions, I doubt it. The actions I witnessed myself occurred between 2013 and 2015. Those I was told by friends who remained around him occurred up until 2017 or 2018. This was recent. Who knows how long it had been occurring before then. He was clearly no stranger to doing this when I met him. I mean, I guess. I didn't bother blowing this up until today due to work being insane all week. Look, I was going to report on a sexual predator, but work was just crazy. Fucking kidding me. Why are companies... Why does anybody listen to these dumb women? Like, obviously, not all women. Just this one and people like her. This is the dumbest story I've ever seen. But I've got time now. Chris Avellone is an abusive, abrasive, conniving sexual predator. People tried to get him help. He refused it and continued. Stop glorifying him. Mithrin Emrys says, so, he was a perfect gentleman, but he was constantly hitting on other girls, getting drunk, and forcing her to get blackout drunk. Why does this read like a Lifetime movie of the week? The Burning Console, starring Zac Efron. No fucking kidding. Oh, my God. False statements about Avellone. Reasonably understand the statements to be about Avellone and to mean that he is a habitual sexual predator who targets young women, including under the age of consent, for non-consensual sexual contact. Avellone forces women to become intoxicated against their will. Blah, 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 blah. Entirely false. Same stuff there. Same. Fourth cause of action against Barrows again. On or about June 20th, 2020, Barrows continued her Twitter.com thread of the previous date. Now, her work did slow down. She now has more time. Hey, Avellone, since I know you've seen this now, spare us all the lies and the non-apologies. Bruh. Either fess up to what you did to countless women and actually apologize and atone, or shut the entire fuck up. And I didn't name certain entities for a fucking reason. I'm a strong woman. That's why I'm using fuck so much, you motherfucker. And yeah, I do hate you, Avellone. You assaulted and abused my friends. Again, there we go. That's a libel statement. We know this bitch doesn't have any friends, so that one must be false. You made life hell for dozens of fellow industry. You've abused star power to victimize women. You're playing this weak-ass victim card for sympathy points. Now that's your secrets out. GTFO with that shit. They always do this. It's the same thing. It's how Jamie Markey got fucking tough, right? She got so fucking tough in her statement. I probably fucking threw him off of me because I'm so fucking badass. Stop listening to ugly fat women who have these complaints. Stop it. Stop it. You go verify them first. Go verify them. None of this story makes any sense. Same things. Same type of stuff. Here we go. On June 22nd, San Francisco-based computer game developer online magazine Gamma Sutra published a report as a result of Barrows' statements. A true and correct copy of Gamma Sutra's article is attached as Exhibit 2 and is incorporated by reference. Gamma Sutra's article was updated to include the following statements issued by Techland. Later that date, Gamma Sutra updated its article again with an additional statement by Techland. Okay, same. We already read those. On June 29th, Business Insider magazine published an article reporting on Barrows' allegations and California video game company Electronic Arts Incorporated's reaction to her accusations. True and correct copy of that article is attached and is incorporated by reference. EA issued this statement as a result of Barrows' allegations, which was included in the article. We take all allegations of harassment and abuse very seriously. A statement from EA sent to Business Insider said, and the recent reports that have surfaced are very concerning. EA has no plans to work with Chris Avellone moving forward. Similar to the Funimation, very similar to the Funimation tweet. Reputational harm, all of that stuff. Ty says, stop listening to the hot ones. The hot ones have a markedly lower amount of reporting going on. Just on or about June 20th. This is against Bristol, so this is the other party, Barrows' friend. In response to Barrows' tweets containing the fourth cause of action above, Bristol, under the hand glitter broker, using the alias Kelly Stabatha, posted to Twitter stating, I've never admitted this on Maine, but he, Avellone, groped me repeatedly at DragonCon 2014 by pulse. Every time you or his girlfriend weren't looking, his hand was on my ass, and he was trying to get me to go to his room. So he says that whole thing is a lie. I told him I don't fuck my friends as boyfriends and to stay the fuck away from me. X to doubt. X is in the chat, please. We're calling for X's to doubt in the chat. Looking for X's in the chat. Please press X to doubt. I highly doubt anyone ever said, stay the fuck away from me. Jesus criminy. I swear he only stopped when Scott gave him the dirtiest look I've ever seen. He was ready to turn Avellone into paste like a horse. And I somehow came away from that feeling like I'd done something to bring it on. I shook his hand when we were introduced. That's it. That's all it took. To which Barrows replied, oh my fucking God. Also, thank goodness for Scotty, Remember when he and I ran off to go find that fucker after Avallone's then girlfriend Cam back to the room after not being able to find Avellone downtown? Holy fucking shit. I can't believe I didn't know this. Well, it's hard to know a lie. It's hard to know a lie. To which Bristol replied, I remember that entire fucking shit show. I was more concerned about Avallone's then girlfriend's safety to even process what he'd done to me. It didn't really hit till I got back home. It didn't hit until I got back home. He was groping my ass the entire night, but it didn't hit me until I got back home. Stop listening to the... If your ass is so numb from the amount of groping that you get that you don't realize it until you get home later, maybe you're a hoe. Just maybe you're a hoe. I don't know. Look, if someone grabs my ass, trust me, I know. If someone grabs yours and you're like, well, I don't even feel that because my ass has been grabbed, just maybe you need to tone it down a little bit. Oh, God, I'm so sorry you had to deal with that shit. And I'm so angry I didn't even see it. Because it didn't happen. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. To which Bristol replied, he, Avellone, knew exactly what he was doing. You didn't see it because he's just that practiced at it. And I was so shocked I froze. Look, guys, I am an expert grab ass. I am an expert at grab assery. What is this? What is this? Like, stealth grab ass improved? What Skyrim skill tree do I need to practice to have this effective of a stealth grab ass? Like, how do I do this? John H. says, I froze for 8 years. Reader would reasonably understand the statements to be about Avellone, that he sexually assaulted Bristol, and he did so in a practice manner because he was a habitual sexual assaulter. Entirely false. Yeah. I mean, she goes ahead and says that no one saw it. So by simple rationale, that should be actual malice. If no one was there to see it, and the only two parties would be him and her, then he should be able to overcome actual malice by simply saying that it's a lie. That's how it should be, whether or not the court will apply that. That's what Vanderlinden versus Kahn said in Texas. That's Texas, obviously. I don't know the California case law to actually assess that. But that is by reasonable sort of conclusions. That's how this law should work out. That's how this aspect of libel law should work out. If no one else can verify it between the two, and it's he said, she said, then it's got to be presumed to be malicious if the one person says it's a lie. Because there's no way to prove that they knew it was false without actually getting into discovery and getting depositions and all of that stuff. So for the purposes of an anti-slap, it should be considered malicious. Actual malice. All right. Next, we've got another libel per se against Bristol. On or about June 23rd, Bristol posted to reddit.com. See, this is how they do it, right? Let's go to every different forum we can possibly find. Mithrin Emmer says, big question, does Cali have an anti-slap statute? Yes. How tough will this be to get past it? Tough. Defamation law needs a serious reworking across the board. Yes. Defamation law was written and developed in a time absent of the internet and social media. So, yeah, it needs a complete reworking with social media actually considered into it. It really does. Anti-slap laws were to prevent really moneyed parties going after people who talk bad about them. This is preventing companies from going after a journalist for a bad review. That's what an anti-slap was intended to prevent. Not to prevent cases where someone has literally destroyed you. Okay. So here's her Reddit post. I continue to be disgusted by how media outlets report so carelessly on this topic. I was doxxed by the very first fly-by-night gaming site that picked the story up. Good. You wanted to be public about it. Why do you get to hide behind anonymity if you want to be public about destroying someone? They've since edited the story thanks to a journalist friend of mine ripping the site owner a new one. I get that it's a juicy story, but victims keep being served to the wolves in the process. As for my thoughts on Avellone, he's a sick man. I hope he gets help. But what happens to his or any other predator's career is on them, not their victims. Companies are letting him go because he is a liability. Predatory behavior drives talented people away every day, causes internal strife within teams. No level of talent is worth that. And I'd argue that, except for Roman Polanski, apparently. And I'd argue that it negates any talent a person has. His storied career is not more important to the industry than the careers, talents, and well-being of the people he's harmed. Anyway, it's been a real interesting few days. That's for damn sure. Has it really? Has it really been that interesting? Same thing. Sexual predator, hatred, false, etc., etc. Barrels and Bristol's allegations have been republished by the press. True and correct copies are attached as Exhibits 6 through 9, giggity, and incorporated by reference. Prayer for relief. Wherefore, Avellone prays for judgment against the defendants. Actual and special damages, including emotional distress damages, general damages, cost of suit, punitive damages, and for equitable relief in the form of a positive injunction. I would not ask for this. Neville Johnson, Johnson & Johnson LLP. Not to be confused with the vaccine manufacturer. Okay. Johnson & Johnson LLP specializes in this area of law. This is what they do. They do commercial litigation. They do reputation protection for celebrities. That's how they work. That's what they do. Whether or not they're any good at it, I don't know, but it's what they do. We are at, by the way, 959 likes. Thank you so much for this. If you want to go ahead and hit like on this at 1,000 likes, of course, I take a customary shot of whiskey, which will be great. Which would be great. Okay, I think let's check these Streamlabs. I'm making sure I'm not missing anything here. Okay, good. We have another story to talk about right here. Or not another story. This is a new write-up on it. A new write-up on it. Oh my goodness, we already hit the 1,000? This is the 11-year Lagavulin Nick Offerman edition, finished in Guinness casks. It's quite good. I picked it up at Costco for about $68.99. And it's a nice substitute for a Lagavulin 16, which runs, closer to 90. Cheers. Cheers. Delvin Klassen says, yes, and in California, that sentence about shame, mortification, hurt feelings is a peculiar part of California libel law. Really? Shame, mortification, hurt feelings? Well, I'm going to take it back. Let me see real quick. I'll take back my statement about not putting that in there. Oh, shit. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, this will be even better. Good. Good. All right. General damage, as used in this section, general damages means damages for loss of reputation, shame, mortification, hurt feelings. This is in any action for damages for the publication of a libel in a daily or weekly news publication or of a slander by radio broadcast. Plaintiff shall only recover special damages unless a correction is demanded and is not published or broadcast as provided in this section. Plaintiff shall serve upon the publisher at the place of publication or broadcaster, blah, 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 blah. So here we go. So here's for general damages. Let's see. If a correction is demanded within 20 days and is not published, proves notice, demand, and failure to correct, and if his or her cause of action is maintained, may recover general, special, and exemplary damages. So there you go. Shame, mortification, hurt feelings, along with loss of reputation are all included in there. Thank you for clearing that up. That's going to make this even more fun. Even more fun. Devin Klassen says, I can't say much more, Leaf Lawman, but I'm one of the people mentioned in the first article about letting the law system deal with it. This is a limitations filing, so be gentle to it. No, the main problem I have with the filing, Devin Klassen, the main problem I have with the filing is I'm very concerned about jurisdiction. Very concerned about jurisdiction. Other than that, there's some statements I mentioned I would have included as part of the lie, but that's they're in there. They're in the fact section already. They're just not bolded. I would have bolded them, but that's not a big deal. All right, let's take a look at this. Chris Avellone begins slap lawsuit against over 100 people who accused him of sexual misconduct. So already that Kirk Mckeand, who he's been listening to, and his opinion on it. Lawyers say the suit is as thin as tissue paper. Oh, Jesus, that sounds like a fake Australian lawyer to me. In a Medium post tagged under cancel culture, game writer Chris Avellone, oh man, hold on, has spoken up for the first time since he was accused of sexual misconduct in 2020. In June last year, multiple companies cut ties with Avellone, including Techland, after he was accused of getting Karissa Barrows drunk before groping and forcing himself onto her. Avellone has filed a lawsuit seeking damages from over 100 defendants. Where they get that is this, John Doe's 1 to 100. Again, this is an affectation of California state civil law and civil litigation practice. This is just how you indicate there may be unnamed defendants when you've got a statute of limitations issue coming up. So you want to get them named in the suit before the statute of limitations. That's how it works in California. It's a weird thing. Most states don't do it this way, but California does. And this guy, here's who wrote the article, by the way, Kirk Mckeand. And we're going to look at Kirk in a minute. This guy just decided to listen to dummies straight out the gate. What he should have done was maybe just called any lawyer in California who does defamation practice and asked them for some insight into it. But he didn't do that because that would require work. Instead, what he did was he went to law Twitter. Seeking damages from over 100 defendants for defamation. though there are only 2 named defendants on the court document. Throughout the court document, Avellone's lawyers plead for hurt feelings as well as loss of employment and reputational harm. Avellone also tweeted there are more accusers beyond who is listed in the court document, saying other women came forward, but addressing them is easier done by first challenging Karissa's statements. This is because Karissa's claims were unfortunately echoed by others as truth. When done out of malice or ignorance, it doesn't matter, they are untrue. If you weren't aware that there were other accusers beyond the original story, Avellone has now cleared that up for anyone. No. He didn't actually clear up that there are other accusers, you lying pile of shit. What he did was talk about how other people who didn't know about the issue echoed the accusations. Echoed by others as truth. You just fucking wrote it, you moron. Doesn't mean that there are other accusers. It means that other people just said that it was true because some dumb lady said it. That's it. Because that's where our stupid culture has gone because of giant cuckolds like you. Fucking dummy. So then he quotes DM Schmeier. This guy is the cuck law employee. I mean, this is a shitty argument for this anyway, but I promise you nobody's going to mind fighting this out with you in LA. You're going to be paying for it after all. Maybe. If he loses the anti-slap, he might. If he doesn't lose the anti-slap, though. That's a lot of does. 100 people saying this stuff about you. I mean, I probably wouldn't want to put in a legal document. There might be up to 100 other people talking about my sex pestery personally. This is what I'm talking about. This guy's a lawyer. He didn't do even a basic search to find out if 1 to 100. Let me give you a tip. Now, I knew to look for this because I've read other California cases. Just type in 1-100 does California. Just type that in. And you'll very quickly find the answer to why this is in the document. But DM Schmeier, he didn't do that. The game writer was originally accused of forcing himself on a woman at a convention after getting her drunk and walking her back to her hotel room. He got me blackout drunk on Midori sours. Clearly not, by the way. Do you guys know what blackout drunk is? It means your blood alcohol content, typically higher than a 0.15 to get blackout drunk, is so high that you're literally unable to form the short-term memories to realize what has been going on. So you wouldn't remember that you got blackout drunk on Midori sours or that it was on the company dime. Even when you got blackout drunk, how you got back to your hotel room, what happened to you afterwards. You wouldn't remember any of it. That would be blackout drunk. If you remember things from the night, but it's fuzzy, you were not blackout drunk. So anyway, he and 2 friends somehow got me back to my room. Here we go. Here's the period thing. Barrows also claimed that she'd seen Avellone hit on people far younger than hers. Barrows was in her late 20s at the time, while Avellone was in his late 40s. In his Medium post, Avellone says she looked my age. She did. She did. I guess it was rough in the streets. He also admits that the kiss happened. I made a move to kiss her. Isn't admitting that the kiss happened? Why don't you just say that he made out with her? He says before claiming she reciprocated. There's no talk of consent. Before claiming she reciprocated. There's no talk of consent. Somebody throw me neck first off a fucking building. You want to know, like, games, this is a games journalist right here in pure form. Gummy says he was 39, so he's in his late 30s. Good job. Good job, the gamer. Fucking dummy. And it's impossible for Avellone to know how Barrows felt at the time. No, it isn't. It's not impossible. Because if someone kisses you back, you know how they feel at the time. If someone tells you to get away from me, you know how they feel at the time. If someone tells you nothing, you kind of know how they feel at the time too. There's a lot of indicators that happen that allow you to know what someone else is thinking when you're engaged in close physical contact with them. For reference, go to a gay bar, as I'm sure you're aware of where they exist, and start kissing another man and see what happens. If he kisses you back, guess what? Probably into it. If he doesn't kiss you back, guess what? Probably not into it. And there's a lot of indication to know how he's feeling at the time. You can just go ahead and try it. I would encourage you to do so. Probably better for you. Avellone also claims there was no power imbalance between the pair, saying there was no display of managerial or star power. Karissa herself didn't even know who I was when she met me, by her own admission. Later in the same post, he admits to helping her out with interviews for her friends and networking favors for her. Yes. One, because she lied. Two, because that was over the course of a year. Good job pointing that out. That didn't happen at the onset. That happened over the course of a year. There are two facts above. Avellone made a move on Barrows, and he also did networking favors for her. Okay. Which would suggest an imbalance of power to some people. Wait, though. Wait. Why are you talking about facts? Because if you're talking about facts in the case, no display of managerial or star power, that's actually a fact. Didn't know who I was is a fact. Let's see. We've got I made a move to kiss her is a fact. She reciprocated is a fact. Like there is a thing whether or not someone kisses you back. That's true. I maybe this guy's never kissed anyone who's kissed him back, but that's a fact. Like there's a lot of facts, but if he's talking about just general factual statements, he's only listed a couple things. He hasn't gone through the entire scenario. There's tons of facts in the complaint. There's tons of facts. What the hell is this? Snuggle Struggle says, there's no talk of consent. Wow, there's literally no talk of personal agency either. These people are daft beyond measure. To believe this idiocy means they think women have no conscience. This is infuriating. Oh, yeah. It's embarrassing. They have infantilized women to the point of embarrassment. Okay, anyway. It is only Avellone's opinion that the kiss was reciprocated. Nope, that's not actually true. Reciprocating a kiss is a factual statement that can be known somewhere. That's not an opinion. You're fucking stupid. That's not an opinion statement at all. What the hell are you talking about? He also admits that Barrows said the kiss wasn't a good idea, which backs up her initial claim that she refused him. This actually isn't what he said at all. That's not what he said at all about the kiss. It was them getting hot and heavy and handsy. She said this isn't a good idea, after which he said they stopped. But he says she ended up refusing him. Like, that's not a strange thing there. That doesn't make someone a sexual predator because in the middle of an encounter, they say, you know what, actually, I'm not into this, and then you stop. That's not sexual predation. That's just someone saying, yeah, I'm not really comfortable moving forward. And then it stops. That's how people work. Lawyers are currently discussing the slap suit on Twitter. These are generally used by plaintiffs to silence people by bullying them with the threat of bankruptcy. Though Avellone claims he started the lawsuit because he wants his accusers to speak more. Yeah, he wants to force them to speak more, probably through deposition. I hate bullies. I hate slaps. Check out this doozy. You want to know why this guy hates bullies? I'll show you. Here we go. Here's why he hates bullies. Are you ready? Are you ready for the reveal? Fucking look at him. That's why he hates bullies. There you go. Solved it. According to DM Schmeier, an attorney at law for Cuck Law, it's notoriously difficult to push through a slap suit in California. Yep. One of the strongest slap state. By the way, you know who ended up winning their slap suit? John Della Rose. John Della Rose, who was on this show talking about his lawsuit against WorldCon, I think it was. He ended up winning that through a settlement. He got a settlement. He got an apology from them. I don't know if I don't remember if he got some unpaid or some amount of money. I seem to remember there was something. I don't remember if they said how much. But John Della Rose won a quote unquote slap lawsuit in California. They are hard to get through. They are also possible to get through. Mithran Emrys says, so she was willing to give sexual favors in exchange for financial favors for her and her friends. If only there was a term to describe this kind of relationship where a younger woman gets with an older man for money. Yeah. 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 Okay, the state where the lawsuit has been actioned. California law dictates that complaints can be struck down within 60 days of being filed, forcing the person who filed the suit to foot the bill for attorney and court fees. If they lose, the person served with the slap suit can also file a countersuit for compensatory damages and abusive legal process. Oh, this is great. This pile of garbage. Mike Dunford, Akiva, Greg, that stupid gay wolf in Australia. Y'all see this nonsense defamation complaint that somehow isn't written in crayon? This person's not a lawyer, by the way. This is just one of the law Twitter dick huggers who's too fucking pathetic to actually go get a law degree. Like, just go get one if you're so infatuated with it. Calling the furry gay from Australia, the wolf lawyer. These plaintiffs' lawyers at Johnson & Johnson are lucky they're a media law firm without a Twitter presence, because I would be dragging them so hard right now. Neville Johnson ought to be ashamed of this pleading utter garbage. I'm sure they're terrified of you, Tyler. I'm sure that Johnson & Johnson, the Los Angeles law firm, I think the Beverly Hills law firm that deals in entertainment disputes and reputation protection, I'm sure they're so terrified of a random giant vagina in Australia who pretends to be a wolf because he's so embarrassed about who he is that he has to hide behind his wolf avatar because people looked up his law firm and found out that he was just one of the lowly... like the sole male at his law firm and was at the like lowest rung of it. They figured that out. And then he's like, oh God, I'm guessing the women told him to change his name so that people wouldn't know. That's Tyler Wolf, by the way. Tyler Wolf, Australian litigator extraordinaire, looks like a Geico caveman, but masquerades as a furry because, well, I don't know. Maybe he's into diaper play. Don't know. Pathetic. But yeah, I'm sure Johnson & Johnson, the media firm that specializes in reputation protection out of California, I'm sure they're very, very concerned that you would drag them on Twitter with your tiny Twitter account. Let's see how it is. Here we go. 4,000 followers. Boom. He says he's a 6'3", 205-pound hyper-carnivorous apex predator. Hunts by biting down on defendants' necks, then shaking them until money falls out. That's literally his profile. Guys, this person's an embarrassment. But okay. Another thing that will make the suit more difficult for Avellone is the fact that he's a public figure. His own filing says this status out in black and white under the general allegation section, which highlights his prominent career in game development. It actually doesn't say that in black and white, but they have pled actual malice in each of the claims, and they've pled so by pointing out all of the problems with the statements, especially the ones to which there are no witnesses, and the fact that the fictions were created solely by the defendants, which highlights his prominent career in video game development. Public figures must prove malice through clear and convincing evidence. Nope. Maybe stop listening to law Twitter. They don't actually have to prove malice through clear and convincing evidence. In Texas, it's clear and specific evidence, but it's literally just a preponderance of the evidence to win a slap suit. Again, instead of just reading things you don't understand, why don't you call any California defamation attorney and just take 5 minutes and ask them these questions? I forgot that would be work, and this is a games journalist. Providing proof that the person knew the statements they made were false. Whether done out of malice or ignorance doesn't matter, they are untrue. That's what Avellone said in his tweet about the lawsuit. Lawyers seem to disagree. He wasn't making a legal claim there in that tweet about the lawsuit. It was a tweet about his situation. And this isn't a statement about his lawsuit. That much is pretty obvious. You dummy. Here's, so this is the person. Kirk Mckeand. Here we go. Get a look at this thing. Editor-in-chief at the Gamer website, former deputy editor for VG247. I wrote a little about my experience running a lap dancing club and how video games get them so wrong. Oh, okay. Okay. Mithran Emmer says, if the bigger question about this is, has it come to the attention of Popat yet? We know his suit isn't important on Law Twitter until Popat comments on it with some sort of puerile comment. They need his blessing. Here, let's see. We can get a really quick idea about this guy pretty quickly. I restarted Breath of the Wild last time I checked out at the 3rd Divine Beast, but I'm committed to finishing this time. I've just been exploring and finding shit naturally, and it's easily the best design open world ever made. So smart how it funnels you to cool stuff. I don't know anything about the Divine Beasts in Breath of the Wild, but last time he had to quit at the 3rd Divine Beast. I don't know if that's hard or not. Doing Pride Month right on the Gamer website. I'm tired of everything you post having to relate to someone's sexuality. I personally really don't care, as it does absolutely nothing for the game if a character is bisexual or not. So I'm unfollowing so I can read about other games elsewhere. Excited to get critiqued on my journalism standards by the subject of this brilliant thread. So Eric Kane. Eric Kane is recently fallen out of favor. And I think Eric Kane is eating red pills by the day. Sorry to keep mentioning this weird dude, are you? But I'm honestly a bit concerned with how much effort he's expended on me since I blocked him. Look at this shit. Guy is losing it. Mom, I'm making a call-out video because a guy said I have a shit beard. But you have a shit beard too. Okay. So here we go. I wrote about the Avellone lawsuit, which lawyers all across Twitter are currently laughing at. Okay. He tweeted this twice, though. So there you go. He's very much promoting it. Interesting thread about the Avellone lawsuit. Just had a quick search, and there's quite a few lawyers mocking it. Not all of them are wolves. Oh, Kirk. Oh, Kirk. He doesn't even know. He doesn't even know what he's done. He doesn't know anything about it. So anyway, that's the Chris Avellone lawsuit. That's what's going on. If this really was a filing to preserve statute of limitations, we can expect an amended complaint coming very soon. But you saw what the article is based on, and this is the unfortunate state of journalism today. His lawsuit was his research. Literally, the extent of his research on this lawsuit is: I went to Twitter, found law Twitter. A small group of them are complaining about the lawsuit and laughing at it. Therefore, it's bad. It's got let's just take again. I don't mean to shit on this, but he found this thread. Lots of lawyers are laughing at it. There are 6 replies and 140 likes. There are 6 replies and 140 likes. The firm's website contains these counters. I suspect this litigation will result in an increase in the number of media articles and features. Possibly a few media articles and features about how apparently their client, Chris Avellone, is a sex pest. Good move, geniuses. Again, didn't research the 1 to 100 John Does. Seems impossible to prove. I'm sure the brilliant lawyers at Johnson & Johnson are up to this task. It isn't just some censorious nonsense designated to chill anyone who would otherwise be anonymously critical of their client into silence. Surely not. No, it's literally an affectation of California litigation practice. Blame the actual system that they're in. That's what it is. So he's just really going into all of the agency stuff because literally doesn't take the 2 seconds to fucking look into it. Good job, Tyler, you dummy. Anyway. Well, that's that. Gummy, no, Johnson & Johnson doesn't have a Twitter presence, which is actually making Law Twitter very, very sad. They can't make fun of Johnson & Johnson on Twitter because they're not there. Shit. Uh-oh. They don't care what you have to say. Weird. Because they're actually dealing with real clients in real life. So anyway, that's the lawsuit. I guess I'll go ahead and read the chats out tonight. And then I think I'm supposed to go to Twitch. Play some video games. So there you go. For those of you who check out, thank you for hanging out. We'll see you tomorrow. Another day, another stream. And if you want to, check me out on twitch.tv/Recato Law for some good old bad video game playing. I don't know what I'm going to play tonight, but something. And yeah, let's get into these chats. Where do they start? Here we go. Pepsi Man says, Nick is someone with a decent Kermit impression. Could you critique Kermit's new official voice actor? You don't need to watch the whole video, obviously. Who can? What is this? Wait. This is Kermit. The fuck is that?
Nina, I'm sorry to interrupt. You see, I have a little bit of a style question.
Oh, God damn it. No audio. Hold on. Go back here.
Leave a mark on this Pride season. You're not ready for it.
Excuse me? Excuse me, Nina? Gee, I am so sorry to interrupt.
Hi, Kermit. What's up?
Oh, well, you see, I have a bit of a style question.
You see, I have a bit of a style question to ask you, you weird drag queen Pride Month pile of definite flamethrower bait.
That is an awful Kermit voice. Thank you for ruining my day. Disgusting. Disgusting. Kool-Aid Man says, oh yeah, Nick, I met the Karissa whore at a sex toy convention back in 2011. She gave me a presentation of how much of Rambone she could take, which is perfect for me anyways. We're back at the hotel and she's blowing me while eating like Lickamaid. Pure talent. Crusaders Harrison says, I told him to stay the fuck away from me. Me, I think the fuck not, you trick ass bitch. Kermit the Frog says, someone needs to wash these hoes' mouths with some warm, soapy water. Good Lord, even sailors don't feel the need to say fuck every other word. Correct. Correct. Next, not applicable. Wait, read that one? Nope, not applicable says your video audience is too dumb for subtlety. Rude. Nintendo Power says Chris Avellone, the mind behind New Vegas. Cast out of the industry by the same fake accusations that ruined Vic. His detractors were scared of talent. Snuggle Struggle says, remember that anime group in the beginning of Vic's ordeal? Women in anime or something? I wonder if many within all happened to speak out about Vic. Probably about Chris, too. Bullet Shepherd says, I have a bad habit of apologizing when things go overboard in an argument just to get it to end. Working on that. No, it's fine person to person. You can even utilize in a utilitarian way apologies to end things like arguments. That's not the never apologize thing. Never apologize is about never apologizing to the mob. The mob doesn't care. Oh shit, I forgot to do the Ridge wallet thing. Well, I'll do it tomorrow. Theophrastus 3.0 says, unrequited love does not die. It's only beaten down to a secret place where it hides, curled and wounded. For some unfortunates, it turns bitter and mean. L. Newmark, The Book of Unholy Mischief. Aunt Haggis says, just dropped in, Nick mad, usually. Wolfgang Deo says, who is Chris Avellone and why did I listen to you read this whole manifesto? Prayers for guy's wife with second child, by the way. Chris Avellone is a video game developer and writer of some major games who has gotten Me Too'd. Local Enterprise Broadcasting says, have you ever peed in multiple streams? Yes. Yes, it's very frustrating. 10 Gen Ken says, Dana White and the UFC are the sole bastions of investigating abuse claims. Travis Brown, Abdul Razak Al Hassan, etc., all vetted and cleared. That's because Dana White doesn't give a shit about anybody, and the man needs to be celebrated for it. Polio64 says, Nick, I can't stop apologizing. I'm Canadian. I know. It'll require you to die, but unfortunately, it's a sacrifice you're going to have to make. Devin Klassen says, Nick, before judging this complaint, there's more happening. Specifically venue-wise, think limitations, suspensions for this. Be ready for other venues. I will watch out for it, Devin. Thank you for letting me know. Not applicable. Message retracted. Thomas DeVries says, did this or any women at that convention cosplay Star Trek 2? I would be in favor of Sleuts. Snuggle Struggle says, Democrats repeatedly espouse Jim Crow 2.0, yet all I continually see is Salem Witch Trials 2.0. This is yet another stairway in another industry. Polio64, how dare you say fuck you too? You better apologize for that. Rude. Automata says, wow, her choices were made only because his seemingly good behavior drove them. Drex's words about responsibility, kryptonite echo in the background. Struggle Snuggle says, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Like Monica tweeted after ruining Vic's life. I wish this could have been handled better. You think? You think? The anime guy says, punishment for women who lie to court to destroy another person's life through sexual misconduct accusations. Accusers get graped by actual grapists. I don't know if that's the right. That's a bit strong. Not So Handsome Jack says, I am a level 100 grab ass mage. Feel that? I just grabbed your ass and you didn't know because I'm a master, Nick. Only upon reflection of the past 10 seconds did I realize my ass had been grabbed. Scipio Ninja says, my ex knew every time I'd grab her non-existent cheeks, even when my arm would only sway by them on accident. This lady is full of it. Full of it. Longreach Jones says, as a genuine artificial fake lawyer from Australia, I take exception to your statement, sir. Maybe I'll poke when I pass the bar. Yeah, do it. Linda Marie says, please do a how to not be Me Too'd video saving lives. Lamar76 Metal says, hey, Nick, I'm about to make the 2-hour trek to go to my wife's bedside. As you should. As you should. Take a shot for me. Wish me Godspeed. I will. I do wish you Godspeed, and that's what you should be doing as a husband. The mic sounds like garbage because you touch yourself at night. Jay is bored. Mighty Schwartz says, let the record show that the wolf lawyer is eating his own feces and expecting head rubs. True. True. Schizo Gamer is going to get me canceled now? Who's Schizo Gamer? What am I missing? Who is this person? I'm very interested. Does Ridge Wallet know that this channel was bullying women? Not hard enough. Oh, please, don't tell them. Don't go tell Ridge Wallet about how I'm bullying women. Good Christ. Okay, anyway. Let's see. Next. Not applicable says, by shit beard, we mean there's literal shit in it. Colfate 2A wannabe Hunan Muhammad says, that was the worst Kermit voice ever. Not So Handsome Jack says, if you want to hear a good Kermit, out Devil Artemis. Automata. People on Twitter are flummoxed that the reputation protection law firm doesn't have a Twitter presence for them to dogpile. That actually says a lot. A lot. Next. That one guy says, to clarify on The Last of Us 2, the only sales reported were opening weekend. That was plus 4 million. It reportedly went on to undersell other games that year, likely underperformed its potential, but I suspect it was hurt more by its content than its press. But something I'm now wondering based on what you said, are there really no successful social media campaigns against companies? No, there's a ton of them. Tons of successful social media campaigns against companies. I just think we have a tendency to over-exaggerate how much success there is. Nothing Project Veritas or Chris Rufio have worked so far. I don't know if Chris Ruffo has gotten anything actually done. He's exposed a lot of stuff, but what has he changed? I don't know. I thought a few of them had worked, but I'm not sure. I think Veritas is doing great things. But you know, exposing bad actors and companies doesn't mean that the company has to be canceled. It can just be that the company changes. Ideally, in a capitalist society, that's what you would do. Express dissatisfaction with the bad act, have them rectify the bad act, and then continue making good products. But, you know, that's me. That's my opinion. I'm not a boycotter in general. So, all right, there we go, guys. That's the end of the show for the night. I hope you enjoyed it. I very much did. We'll be following along with Chris Avellone's adventures. I'll reach out to Chris. I assume there will be no reciprocal communication. But hey, doesn't hurt to give it a shot. And if anybody out there knows Chris, if anybody out there happens to have contact with Chris and want to say, hey, you know what, if you want to check out this guy and talk to him, you know, please have him contact me off the grid, off the record or whatever. And then, you know, at least chat with me. I want to make sure I get his story right. All right, guys. I hope you have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace. Peace.
Oh, he drinks a fair bit, but you realize that it just helps get his noggin jogging along. With his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight, we'll hear some law-splaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes madder, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Maine to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an ardbeg, a Balmore, a Lafroig, the spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we are now. Oh, the guests are all plentiful, from Doug T to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. Get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better